Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with Encased, a science fiction post-apocalyptic role-playing game. I absolutely love science fiction games and have been really excited to dive into this world from developer Dark Crystal Games. Let's talk about what I liked and disliked about the experience. Starting with what I liked, I think the story is fantastic. The game is set in the 70s, and a huge building called the Dome has been discovered in the desert. Underneath it are technological wonders that have never been seen before. The world comes together to research these new discoveries, and an international organization called Cronus is created. They quickly discover once you enter the dome, there is no way to leave it. You play as a new employee of Cronus. What I really like about the story is how much it changes over time. In the beginning, you are a complete nobody and are basically sent to do suicidal grunt work. Then you become somewhat important and involved in projects that have wide-reaching implications. Then finally, you become the linchpin that decides the fate of everyone within the dome. The advancements in the story feel very well earned. When you walk into a room with the most powerful leaders of the dome and they all treat you with respect, it makes sense and feels like a natural progression. The game begins a character creation, and I think it's one of the strongest parts of this experience. Cronus is divided up into different wings, and you have to choose which one your character will be associated with. Each wing focuses on a different aspect of the organization, such as military, science, or leadership. Your choice doesn't lock you out of interfacing with other wings, but at the same time, it is a choice with weight. Each wing feels like its own private club and culture. Choosing a wing will give you a boost to certain stats, and sometimes provide you with dialogue options related to areas the wing specializes in. I chose the Silver Wing, which focuses on order and leadership. It was a fantastic experience, with many options to order people around, rat out lazy employees, and just overall be a corporate scumbag if I wanted to. After you choose from the standard list of abilities, you'll pick skills to specialize in. There's a wide variety of ways to approach combat, from light weapons to melee weapons to thrown contraptions to psionic powers. All of them seem very viable, and I love the flexibility this game provides. I personally chose tech weapons, and while ammo was a bit more scarce than I think it should have been towards the beginning of the game, I still had a great time with it. I do think a sequel would benefit from a greater variety of weapons within each category. It felt like I continued just upgrading the same energy weapon I originally had throughout the game. It's definitely worth investing in skills that are outside of combat because Encased gives you a wide variety of ways to solve quests. Having points in skills like tech, science, criminal, or influence will often open up alternative ways to resolve different situations. Pretty much regardless of where you spend your points, the game rewards you and it feels fantastic. Another part of what makes the experience stand out is the voice acting, which is terrific throughout the game. You are going to meet a lot of well-written characters with unique personalities, and a fantastic job has been done of pairing them with voices that bring it all together. Whether it's the cold and logical Nakamura or the hardline military genius Zemeckis, there are many memorable voices peppered throughout your story. All of that is great, but honestly, what I loved about this game the most is that everything gives you XP. I cannot remember playing a game that felt this way, but in Encased, it literally seems like everything you do is helping to develop your character. Exploring, crafting, cooking, looting, combat, quest completion, and sometimes even dialogue all give you experience points. Consequently, regardless of your actions, you are constantly working towards the next level up, and me personally, I love it. Opening up something as mundane as a flower pot and getting an awesome item while also gaining 600 XP feels extremely satisfying. Unfortunately, there's a limit to this, but we'll talk about that when we get to what I didn't like. There is one aspect of this game I am neutral on, and that is the endings. On the one hand, there is a huge variety of endings available, and it really feels like the epic culmination of the main story. The epilogue slides are oftentimes long, and you get an understanding of the impact your actions have. Despite this, I have two issues with the endings. First, I don't think they take enough of your decisions into account. This is a 40 to 60 hour game, but I feel like the vast majority of what you do is ignored in the end. It's only a couple of decisions that actually matter. None of your party members are in these slides, nor are you given any indication of what has become of them. The bigger issue I have is the vast majority of endings range from bittersweet to outright hopeless. I am sure opinions vary, but from my perspective, the ending slides show only one faction really knew what they were doing. There is nothing in the game that indicates this, and I feel like that weakens the experience. All the different factions you could potentially side with are presented as equally competent. Therefore, in my mind, they should all, or at least most of them, have endings where you essentially save the world. That's definitely not the case here. Quick note before we get into what I don't like about the game. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate you hitting the like button. This information tells me which content the channel is enjoying and helps my videos spread to more people. I really appreciate all of the support. Before we get into what I don't like about this game, I think it's worth noting that Dark Crystal Studios is a small developer, and this is their first game. I think Encased is a standout achievement considering that, and definitely believe if you like these type of games, you should go ahead and pick it up to support them. They have absolutely earned the right to create a sequel. That being said, I do have a couple of big issues with this game. The smaller issue that is still very important to me is that I hate how the game handles party members. First off, you cannot start recruiting party members until after 5 to 10 hours of the game. I didn't expect this coming in, and frankly, it was a turnoff since I knew party members were in the game and I kept thinking I must be missing them. Once you can start recruiting party members, you will find out that most of them have very interesting introductions, are well voice acted, and have a cool story thread that you'll be looking to learn more about as the game goes on. Except that never happens, and your party members have little to no character development. Gaining reputation with your party members will open up a couple of new conversations, but there are no new quests or major revelations. Your party members are not tied into the main quest in any way, and as I have mentioned before, they are completely ignored in the game's endings. There is also little to no banter between party members. The bigger issue is that the game just doesn't hold up for its entire length. There are several aspects of the experience that are relatively okay in hour 5 and then become a real drag in hour 20. I'll list 3 of them here. Number 1, combat is mediocre with little to no tactics involved. Enemy AI is poor and predictable. Most of your fights feel the same, and after you figure out how to approach combat in the first couple of hours, you are never given a reason to switch up strategies. Number 2, there is no level cap, but unfortunately, the level up system starts feeling inconsequential after around level 17. By that time, you have probably almost maxed out your combat stats, and your non-combat skills are high enough where you can pass most checks with drugs and food. Also, there aren't enough great perks in the game to make a real difference in your playthrough past this point. The actual game content goes up to level 25, but of course your level could be significantly higher than that. Leveling up should be a big deal in RPGs, and some of the joy is sapped when gaining a new level elicits a shrug from the player and doesn't provide noticeable gameplay benefits. Number 3 is going to be weird for some of you, but I know there are other gamers who know exactly what I am talking about. Let me say up front that I understand when it comes to this issue, I am part of the problem, and I admit that. Still, I believe there's an issue of game design somewhere here. I am a completionist type of gamer who wants to open every container, talk to every person, and do every quest. This game litters all of its areas with flower pots and lockers for you to loot. There's honestly a staggering amount of them in this game. As mentioned earlier, every single one of them can not only provide you with items, but also XP. Now, my mind might tell me that I don't need more items and I don't need more XP, so I really should ignore that flower pot and continue about my business. But the gamer in me knows that there's XP there, so I have to open it. This creates a problematic dynamic where I played a 60-hour game, and if you ask me what I spent most of my time doing, I would probably say opening flower pots. For some people, this might sound like a dream come true, but for me, after hour 25, I grew sick of looting containers. That has honestly never happened to me in a game before. It got to the point where I unlocked a brand new pivotal area in the game, and my first thought was dread about how many flower pots were spread around outside. Again, I know some people will listen to this and say, well, why didn't you just stop opening them? But I don't feel like I should have to resist the urge. The game should be set up in a way that rewards completionists with more dialogue, combat, quests, and fun things to do, not a gajillion random containers to open over and over again. Outside of those drawbacks, I had a good time with Encased and would definitely play a sequel. Looking forward to what Dark Crystal Studios does next. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.